Well, hello, I'm Cheryl Sitz, and I have been a holistic coach and practitioner for almost 10 years now. Vibrational healing practitioner, coaching, teaching, podcasting, everything I can do to get the word out about natural solutions for healthy living. And all of that has been alongside my own journey and discovery of this path and way of living. And as I've moved through things, I've been ready to tackle deeper issues. And sugar was my deepest. I was actually hypnotized once and told that when I was taken away from my birth mother, there was sugar in my bottle when they took me away from my mother. And that kind of helps me understand how long this thing with me and sugar have been going on. And when life seemed out of control, or there wasn't any sweetness going on, or I couldn't cope, I'd go to sugar. Not just sugar, though. I mean, I was pretty much processed foods, junk food, you name it. Sugar's been my longest vice. And as I've done some of the deeper emotional healing work, I made the conscious choice that I wanted to move away from so much sugar. Easier said than done. It was a lot for me to even think about doing that. And I kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. As you come in, please let me know that you're here. Say something in the chat. Mario Rosales is graciously facilitating the chat room. So let us know you're here and let us welcome you. And thank you for spending some of your Sunday with me as I share about my journey with sugar and junk food and all of that. Food became my comfort. It became my vice. If you know anything of my story already, you know there was sexual abuse in there. There was kind of a lack of emotional availability on my mom's part, and my dad wasn't around a lot. And there was just a lot going on in my childhood. But the thing that was constant was that I could get my hands on something sweet, something junk food, something that made me feel better. And so I did. And as I started doing healing from things from my past, I wanted to heal that too. I tried a few times, but it didn't last. And then along came 2020. We have all been going through our shifts in 2020, right? It seems like everywhere I look, people are getting hit where it hurts. Something is happening in each person's life to shake them to the core, shake them to their foundation, on top of the pandemic itself, which has done that for a lot of people. There are threats to our jobs, threats to our everything, right? And it's brought health really into the forefront. And I believe health is going to be our key for everything in the future, because as we find that we can't trust the sources that we see outside of ourselves for truth, for security, for stability, we have to get in touch with our inner wisdom, because I believe that we all can know truth. We can all become kind of like a divining rod for truth. And that leads me to the superpower that I wanted to talk to you about today. So I am well into my Candida Cleanse, and I have had sugar die-off. I've had all kinds of symptoms. You might see splotches on my face. I've got skin rash. I've got dizzy spells. I've got nausea. It's been a lot of fun, let me tell you. But Spirit said, you need to get on here and talk about what else you're finding out. And that's this. I remembered when I was a little girl, I had this uncanny ability to feel the truth, to feel what was good for me, to feel when people were being authentic or not being authentic with me. So as a little girl, when my mom and dad said, let's go over to so-and-so's house, if I got this big wrenching in my gut, I would start saying, please don't, let's don't go. I don't want to go. I don't feel good. That doesn't feel good. My stomach hurts. This went on for a while, and they would scold me and say, come on, quit being difficult. You're coming with us. Until one day they finally said enough is enough. My mom talked to my doctor, and they put me in the hospital and ran a whole battery of tests. I was in there for several days. It's the only time I've ever been in the hospital. And the doctor looked at all kinds of places to find out what's wrong with me. And he finally told my mom, there's nothing wrong with her stomach, her digestive system. She's great. So then my mom and dad really decided I had just been being a difficult kid, and they needed to make sure I would mind and quit, knock it off, Cheryl. I heard that a lot. So what that did for me was tell me that this wonderful gift that I had that nobody understood or couldn't find evidence of was just a hoax. I was just being a difficult kid and I needed to ignore it. And that really drove my desire for sugar, my desire for junk foods, because they would suppress that some. I couldn't feel it as much when I would eat crappy foods or whatever. And as I got older, that also progressed into cigarettes and alcohol and drugs and you name it, anything to shut that down. So now into this Candida cleanse, my gut is waking up like it hasn't been since I was that little girl that was getting in trouble all the time. I am back to, despite the Candida Die-Off and the funky stuff, which I believe there's a price we pay for all these things to get back to ourselves, because we came in with these as gifts and we forgot and we moved away from them. So now these gifts are knocking at the door again. Hello, you want to take care of your body? During this 2020, all of a sudden my body wouldn't handle sugar and junk food anymore. I had to stop. I was starting to get really sick. So I'm holistic. I'm going to stop. I'm going to do what I need to do for my body. If I say I'm going to walk the walk, that's where it shows up, right? So I go on this cleanse and all of a sudden, like I've become that human divining rod again. I don't need somebody to tell me if something's true or not. I feel it. I feel it deeply in my gut. Haven't you gotten a gut feeling like that before? Hasn't your gut ever tried to tell you this is right, that's not right? I don't care how much science they put behind that. It's not right for you, Cheryl. That all shows up in my gut. Some people get voices in their head. Some people see things. For me, it's always been in my gut. But that doesn't make it any less. It's kind of nice to just know that I can trust what I'm feeling. So I wanted to come on here and see if any of you have had that experience before, and to assure you that if this sounds familiar, you probably have that gift too. So quitting sugar. Have I quit sugar forever? No. No, I haven't. But I wanted to reset my body and reset my palate, and I'm doing that. And in doing so, natural sweets like fruits taste really sweet again. They didn't for a while because sugar kind of numbed that for me. Vegetables have this amazing rich flavor that was numbed by all these processed foods that have really strong flavors, but they're fake. So I can't say I won't ever go back to any of those things or touch any of those things again, but I am committed to putting more whole foods, more natural things into my body, more natural sweeteners, because I see that as I do that, my body can continue to align with the flow of energy that comes through all of us to know what my truth is. We have some religions believe we have a third eye where we have a knowing, the pineal gland, and this is where spirit can communicate with us. And so we'll have this intuitive divine knowing. I'm here to tell you it runs all the way to the gut. Because I'll feel it in my gut before I see or hear anything else. Before any other evidence shows up, my gut tells me I have a gut feeling about something. And the more that we choose things like nicotine or caffeine or junk foods, I'm not making those things bad. They're not bad. In moderation, I don't think there's a bad food. There's just out of balance. So for me, it's about rebalancing and about minimizing those more, because I understand that as I consume those, my ability to feel this and to be really spiritually aligned and connected. I forget how Esther says with Abraham Hicks, but like tuned in, turned on, switched on, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. Like I feel that in my body, and I believe you can too. And if you want to feel more of it, the secret is in dietary changes. And with those, I promise you, you're going to notice a response in your body, not only to the foods and things you put in your mouth, but to your spiritual awakening, to what they call being an empath, which is really connecting in with everyone else and feeling what isn't being said, hearing what isn't being said. That truth meter, right? That internal truth meter. And also that intuition, hearing spirit, feeling spirit's guidance. No doctor put me on this diet. Dr. Spirit said, Cheryl, it's time. We're going to make you sick from these foods and you're going to get clean because it's time for you to be all that you came here to be. I think that's what 2012 and moving forward is about. The Mayans predicted this time would be for everything that no longer serves us to rise to the surface, become apparent, and fall away. Well, that's also on a very personal, intimate level. What isn't true for us is going to rise to the surface so that we can choose to let it go, and we're being supported in that. So I would encourage you to take action with that, because it's well worth it for what I'm feeling, even with the Candida Die-Off that I hope ends soon. But even with that, it's so worth it to be awake, aware, present in a way I've never been before. And I hope you will give yourself that gift. And yes, I help clients do that, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is just to share with you what I've been experiencing and how worthwhile it is. If you have acid reflux, if you have GERD, if you have IBS, lots of Americans I know have these things. I can't believe what's possible just through dietary changes, and I invite you to explore the same. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap up the video. Mario, thank you for moderating. And I want to remind you, if you are part of what I call a conscious couple, a couple who is trying to communicate with each other better, show up for each other better, and evolve it through your relationship, definitely please join us on Tuesday night at 7:30 Central on Zoom. And we're going to have what we call a holistic union sacred wisdom circle, where we have a safe place, a confidential place to be able to talk about what's going on in our relationships and share with one another. We'd love to have you join us for that. And if you have any questions about this video, I'm going to be sharing it around. Please feel free to post underneath wherever you see it found. I promise you I will respond. This is the time for all of us to show up for ourselves first. A better me leads to a better we. So if you want your relationships to be better, if you want the world to look better, it all starts right here. So as you want to show up for yourself better, I am here for you all the time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, you can find out more about me on journeyofpossibilities.com, and the events are journeyofpossibilities.com/events. Thank you.